Hello, welcome to the Q Today show for June the 12th to the 15th. I'm one of your hosts for this show, Mitch Vick.
And I'm your other host for this show, Doreen LaMarche.
And I would like to welcome Doreen to Q Today. We're very happy to have you. Looking forward to your contributions I know you're going to be making. And as it happens today, you have a feature interview today. Your first show and your first interview. Fantastic. So I believe we're going to be hearing an interview regarding a renowned historical author, Sydney Bradner. So we look forward to hearing that interview later today.
Good, good. Before we get into the news, we'd just like to thank you for watching and remind you that our weekday shows runs Tuesday at 5 p.m. to Friday at 8 p.m. And the weekend offering airs Friday 5 p.m. to Tuesday 8 a.m. We broadcast daily at 8 a.m., 5 p.m., and 10 p.m.
And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can always reach us by email at qtoday@qcatv.ca. And if you'd like to send us some information on or get some information on how to sponsor us, you can give Nate a call. He can be reached at 250-992-3650. And as always, thank you to the Quesnel Cariboo Observer for providing many of our news stories. And remember, we're just giving you the highlights today on Q Today. If you want to read the full story, please pick up your copy of The Observer. And now over to Doreen for our first story. All right.
The Quesnel District Arts and Recreation Centre has Imagination Park again this year. It's a great summer program. It runs from July 2nd to August 30th. It is for children, youth, aged 6 to 12 years old. If your child has attended kindergarten, they can attend this camp. They have a new theme every week, including day trips to Moose Meadows and the Cornmeal Maze. And for more information on this and registering, you can contact the Arts and Recreation Centre at 992-8200. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It does. Very good. So next up, we have a story about West Fraser partnering with the CNC to address trade shortages. The partnership will lead to training opportunities for West Fraser employees, as well as increased access to programs for students in the north central British Columbia area. With this agreement, CNC becomes the college of choice for West Fraser Mills employees, and obviously some benefits would be for people who are growing up in our area. They can train in our area, and they are more likely to stay in our area in Quesnel. The collaboration is looking at additional classes such as carpentry, electrical foundation, millwright apprenticeship, pipe trade, and power engineering 4th class, as well as welding level C. CNC President John Bowman states that it was a significant moment and that this ensures sustainability and certainty. West Fraser will likely donate equipment and parts to meet the program needs. Mary Glassford, former CRD director, is credited with bringing the two parties together, and both parties thank her for her efforts in helping with the cause. And I, for one, think this is fantastic. Quite often you're going to find students who have to go out of city, out of maybe even out of province to get some certification in these areas, but absolutely, if these young students can train in our area, they're more likely to stay here. And conversely, for West Fraser, if they can upgrade some of their employees' skills, then why not do it where they work?
Absolutely, I think that's a great idea. Definitely will ensure some more people stick around.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the Family Fun Day at the Antique Machinery Park is slated for June 23rd with special events, kids' activities, demonstrations, music, and much more. The site boasts a fully operational antique sawmill. Everything gets going at 11 a.m. The sawmill demonstrations, 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. And it looks like a really, really great activity for your whole entire family to attend. You've got a wide variety of antique machineries to look at, a lot of history there. Blacksmith demonstrations, artifacts, thousands of artifacts to take a look at if that interests you. There's also food available and a silent auction. So that is on June 23rd, Saturday, June 23rd.
It's great. I know some of the volunteers that help maintain some of the equipment and whatnot. They put a lot of effort, a lot of hard work goes into keeping those machines, you know, not from decaying and crumbling. So
Right.
definitely a great cause and a great event to learn more about some sort of historical artifacts to our area. So
Absolutely.
definitely encourage everyone to get out there. So our next story we have is sort of on a historical note as well. It's about the building of the Great Pacific Eastern Railway and its anniversary celebration with the Quesnel Museum. The 100th anniversary of the construction of this railway will occur. And just a little bit of a historical take back here. By 1921, the line had made its way to Quesnel, but it took until 1952 to get that line through to Prince George. On June 15th, we invite you to join historian Barry Sanford at City Hall Council Chambers as he recounts the construction north of Quesnel. And basically, some of the issues they had is, and I was not aware of this, they tried to build a bridge across the Cottonwood River 2 times to facilitate this railway to continue on to Prince George.
Really?
And they failed twice, and they had to tear up the lines. So definitely some challenges there, and very interesting history on this. This talk at Council Chambers will be followed by a walk on June 16th, starting first at the Quesnel Railway Station at 1 p.m. for an unveiling of a heritage plaque. Then on to a walk at 10 Mile Lake, if you're up for it. And 10 Mile, again, I wasn't aware of this, is actually, the reason why it's called 10 Mile is that's the first 10-mile marker of the railway north to Prince George. So that's why it's called 10 Mile.
Very interesting.
And the historian, Barry, will be along for the walk to mark certain parts of the old railway that are there and to give some input and some feedback on how these things came to be. Barry promises to bring a few artifacts along that he has found on his first mapping of the old railway in the 1980s. And Sanford, as a note, also lived in the area for many years. He also has an engineering degree through UBC, and he has a lifelong passion for roads. So this gentleman knows what he's talking about. There's no charge to participate in these events, and but donations will be accepted. So hope to see you on June 15th and June 16th.
Excellent. I think it's a great opportunity to get in touch with a little bit of our history, both of these, the Family Fun Day at the Antique Machinery Park and this here. I think it's important to understand the simple things that we take for granted and how they came to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Next, a little update. Danielle Germain, founder of the Breakfast Clubs of Canada, received the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal, marking her 60th year as Queen of Canada. This worthwhile breakfast program is committed to ensuring that all Canadian children have an equal chance to start their day with a healthy breakfast. They reach more than 118,000 children a year in over 1,700 schools across Canada. Yeah. You can find his picture at Coraloo Senior Secondary as he received an honorary dogwood and is a very important part of Coraloo Senior Secondary as a result of the program that he runs.
That's
and
great.
I think is a well-earned honor to receive such an esteemed medal from the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. And a great program that I know reaches a lot of the children in our community. I know there's a lot of fundraising that's done every year for the program and helps out a lot of children who need to start their day with a good, nutritious breakfast, and it may sometimes be the only healthy meal that they eat all day. So it's a really great program, and congratulations to Danielle Germain for that.
Great story. Well deserved. Next up, we have a story about a young Quesnel amputees and how they accentuate the positive in their lives. And I happen to know one of these young ladies, very wonderful young lady, very positive. Met her in my store. She's a great young lady, and you know what? Not having this, being an amputee doesn't keep her down. She's so positive, more positive than most teenagers I know, I have to mention. Courtney McLaughlin, 17. Logan Godso, 9 years old, and Hannah Trimble, 7 years old, all of Quesnel, are back from a War Amps annual BC Child Amputee Seminar, which was held recently in Victoria. Courtney was born a left-hand amputee, Logan a partial right-hand amputee, and Hannah a left arm amputee. They attended the seminar in Vancouver, or in Victoria, and in this seminar they covered new advances in technology with regards to artificial limbs, as well as developments in the social aspect of amputee children. As a junior counselor, Courtney, a great young lady, gave back by answering questions and giving advice, which embodies the philosophy of amputees helping amputees. So really great spirit there. Logan, Courtney, and Hannah were all awarded Champ Ambassador certificates for their contributions to the War Amps. And as the Champ is funded solely through public support of the War Amps key tag and address label service. And I would encourage you to get more information on that if you'd like to sign up for that service, 1-800-250-3030, or of course you can visit waramps.ca. So fantastic, these young people really getting out there and trying to help others who are also amputees. So great way to get involved.
Inspiring to see people who have exceptional challenges use their challenges to enrich other people's lives and bring awareness and give them a hand to also probably in the future become inspiring people as well. It's nice to see. And courageous, very courageous.
Very, very.
The 65th annual Kispiox Rodeo was a rootin' tootin' good time again. They had fantastic weather, and Quesnel was a great big part of the event. Some of our Quesnel winners were for the Saddle Bronc belt buckle winner was Quesnel's Steve Holman. Quesnel's winners were also Lane Wills for junior barrel racing, with a second place to Ricky Hutnick. The Pee-wee buckle winner was Quesnel's Tyler Cherry. That would be Pee-wee barrel buckle, followed by Dyson Leneve. Taylor Cherry took second in open pole bending, and Mackenzie Wills won junior sportsmanship. Sounds like there was a really great showing by all of our Quesnel cowgirls and cowboys and all of the fantastic events with the roping and the riding and the barrel racing, and fantastic. I just was able to attend a local rodeo here not long ago. That was very exciting and made me appreciate the courage that these young people have when they get out there and on these great big 1,000-pound animals and go thundering across the arena. So good to see that Quesnel had such a great showing and did such a good job in placement.
The skill level just to manage to do all these things. It's
just
amazing.
It amazes me to see these young people get on these huge horses, and they have such a relationship with their animal, and go cruising through these poles and maneuvering them and hopping on and off and tying goats and you name it, and it's amazing. It's amazing to me to see them do that kind of stuff. I think that they deserve a big pat on the back and a big buckle.
Big buckle, yeah, for sure. Well, on the same topic of young people excelling, we have a young man in town here. His name's James Spooner. He's 15 years old. He doesn't have a driver's license, but he races cars.
Okay.
I was amazed.
Okay.
He is living the dream of all young boys. Going crazy on the racetrack without having a driver's license, just fantastic. 2 weeks ago, James took to the track with his Ford Tempo for practice, but he has also had his first race under his belt already, and he placed very respectably. He actually won his race, the C-Dash, as car number 74. James is following in his dad's footsteps, who was known on the track as the Grey Ghost 10 years ago. So that makes James Grey Ghost Jr., I'm told. There are a few other young rookie racers as well on the track this year. Number 4, Mason Schwemmler. He's 14 years old. Incredible. Number 57, Luke Zacharias, 15 years old. Number 19, Hannah Brayman, 17 years old. And number 55, Caitlin Lefebvre, 14 years old. So lots of young rookies getting their appetite whet for some racing. All the rookies did great in their first races, and we can't wait to see them on June 23rd, which is the next race day at the track.
Excellent. I think that sounds very exciting. Very, very courageous activity there too. We've got quite the group of youth coming up.
Yeah, they're not holding back, are they?
No, no.
It's fantastic.
Makes me a little nervous thinking about it, putting my 14 or 15-year-old out there, but I think you got to live it.
Well, knowing a little bit about racing, I actually sponsor a race car, and all these cars are outfitted properly. They have roll cages, they have proper seat belts and harnesses, so there's lots of safety involved, and the racers have crews to help them maintain their cars. So I know that James and company are all in good hands with their support crews, and I don't think we need to worry too much about them.
No, and I think they should be having fun and doing
Yeah.
something they love to do, getting their heart pumping and knowing they're alive.
Yeah.
All right, the next story up. Conquering cancer 200 kilometers at a time. Local cyclist Brad Bryant will be raising funds, or I should say is raising funds, with Enbridge Ride to Conquer Cancer. It's a 2-day adventure from Vancouver to Seattle, to over 200 kilometers that he'll be cycling with a team. It's a dear event to Brad, who's lost 2 people close to him to cancer, as many of us have had several experiences with it in our families or dear friends. And the ride requires a minimum pledge of $2,500 just to participate, but Brad is already closing in on his second goal of $5,000.
Wow.
So he's training hard. He's joining a team. Several of his teammates are from down on the Lower Mainland, and so he's training like a good athlete needs to for a 200-kilometer cycle ride. And if you want to help Brad Bryant out, he is taking pledges and trying to reach that goal of 5,000. And you can reach him at the local branch of Aero Transportation at 992-8103. Up next is my debut interview, with local internationally renowned historical fiction author Cindy Bradner. Doreen LaMarche here with author Cindy Bradner of the Exit Unicorns series, and has just released her 3rd installment, Flights of Angels. Thank you so much for being here, Cindy.
Thank you, Doreen.
She's also a dear friend of mine, very excited to get to interview her and talk about her latest book and also the life of a writer. So let's start off with one of the most obvious questions for me, which would be, who are your favorite authors? You've written 3 books now, Exit Unicorns, Mermaid in a Bowl of Tears, and Flights of Angels. Who inspired you?
Well, I mean, like any writer, I read an awful lot of books, but I would say my 3 biggest influences are Dorothy Dunnett, Diana Gabaldon, and of course Leon Uris, who inspired me to write in the first place, because years ago when I was about 13, I read a book called Trinity, which a lot of people are probably quite familiar with. And that when I finished that book, I remembered thinking, this is what I want to do. I want to write something this big, this epic, that really teaches people something.
Right. So how did you come to write these books then? You have a love for literature, that's obvious, but what made you want to, where did this story come from?
Well, I have Irish ancestry myself. I'm only the 3rd generation in Canada, so our connections with Ireland are actually quite recent. And I became, as I started to write fiction, I became very fascinated with Irish history itself, because those were my roots, and I was attracted to this particular era, which was the Modern Troubles. So my books begin in about 1968 with in Northern Ireland, Belfast specifically.
So this story is fairly modern. It brings a lot of history with it, of Ireland, but from a standpoint of fairly recent past. Do you ever feel inclined or inspired to write something that is further back?
Yeah, right now actually I'm working on a novel about the Irish famine, which of course is the mid-1800s. And I was very drawn to that because so many people had to leave Ireland at that time, which of course changed the face of North America, changed the face of the world. Right now they estimate that there's a Irish community from that diaspora of 70 million people worldwide.
Wow.
So it had an enormous effect on the history of the entire world.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So when you are writing, do you have an outline? Do you write chronologically? Does it come to you from beginning, middle to end? How does that work for you? What's that process like for you as a writer?
No, I always work within the historical framework, which is very specific. So I think of it almost like the cold frame, you know, a cold frame that you would grow cucumbers or whatever in. So the structure of that is the history. Then the subplots, the secondary storylines, all that kind of stuff that really makes a book a rich experience are like the vines and the offshoots that wrap around that. But definitely the whole underpinning of my books is the actual history.
And how does your character development happen? How do you come to know your characters? Do they present themselves to you in pieces? How does that work? Do you know who they are right from the beginning?
They present pretty whole for me right from the get-go, but certainly you get to know them more, and they grow as people as you write about them. I've been writing about these characters for a long time now, about 13 years, so certainly I've come to know them a lot better over the years.
So let's just take a second then and talk just a teensy bit about the characters, because as a reader, I have a fondness for them. There's a bit of, I won't use the word hysteria, but there is a following that your characters have. Can you just touch on that a bit, what that's been like as far as getting feedback from your readers and how they view your characters and the effect that they've had on them?
Many of my readers write me and tell me that these people are very real to them. They consider them friends. They think about them long after the books are finished. They finish reading them and wonder what they're up to, how they're faring. And of course there's the infamous love triangle of Jamie and Casey and Pamela. And my female readership is very much split down the middle, and they call themselves Casey girls, Jamie girls, right? So there's a definite divide in the loyalties there. But.
Right, right. Well, I'm definitely split in my loyalties as far as Jamie and Casey go. So what inspires you for your storyline and your characters? Where do you get that inspiration from? How does it come to you?
Well, certainly the history of Ireland is paramount there. Anytime I go to Ireland, I find that really refills my creative well, and I always find something new to write about. But I tend to think that writers are a little bit like crows. Any little shiny thing they see, right, we have to go pick it up, turn it over, figure out if it's going to be useful. Can I use this in a storyline? And so, I mean, something as simple as I remember running across an old article in one of my dad's National Geographic magazines, and that inspired like a whole section in Exit Unicorns. So you just never know where it's going to come from.
Right. And you have a talent for writing the history so well and accurately. That process of research, I think, is dear to you, is it not?
Yeah, I love the research. I find it, because you stumble across such wonderful little gems during the process of researching, and it's very important to me, particularly since the history is so recent, that I get it very accurate. In some cases, I'm talking about people who are still alive, people that I've been fortunate enough to actually communicate with, who've helped me with my research, that live in Belfast to this day. So it is extremely important to me to be accurate with that.
So as a reader, I certainly have felt that reading the books has helped me to understand Ireland and a history that I knew vaguely at best, and now feel that I have a much firmer grasp and a connection to that history through your characters. So that history became real to me through your characters, and I know that your readers in general appreciate that. Now, let's just talk for a moment about the online world. As a writer, that must have an impact on your writing and on you as a writer. You were recently nominated for an ebook, yes?
Yes, the Global eBook Award.
So tell me what is that about? How does that happen, and when do you find out whether or not you've won?
Well, it's a contest that you enter, but literally thousands of people from all over the world enter their books. So you kind of enter and forget about it because you aren't too sure that it's gonna, the odds are fairly slim. But I did get notification not too long ago that I'm one of 9 nominees in my category, which is Historical Literature Contemporary. So
Fantastic.
Yeah, I find out at the end of July if I'm a finalist, and then in August I'll know if I've won.
Excellent. Well, congratulations for that nomination. And there is such a thing, the Kindle. Of course, people know that they can download books onto their through a Kindle app and so on and so forth. You just had a recent experience with a Kindle Select. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, well, with Kindle Select, you get 5 free days within a 90-day period where you can offer one of your books for free on Kindle, which we chose to do just last weekend, and didn't have any experience with it, but just did the best we could with marketing and what have you. And then I really depended on my fans to get the word out, and they did it in a big way because we had 12,000 copies of Exit Unicorns downloaded over a 3-day period. It also helped to really open up my market in Germany and the UK as well, because we had a significant amount of downloads over there too. So
Excellent. So more congratulations are in order for that.
oh, thank you.
I guess one of the most important questions is, where can your readers find the book? Where can they find your books, all 3 of them?
Well, here in town at Carry All Books, all 3 are there. And also on Amazon.ca, Chapters.ca, Amazon.com, where you can buy it in all the various forms, ebook and hard copy. And
Excellent. Okay, so they can also go on your website, yes?
yes, www.exitunicorns.com.
Okay, perfect. And if you do that, you actually can be fortunate enough to have her sign a copy for you. And if you're local, you can come and pick it up from her. I do believe I have done that myself. Okay, so there's one other question that I've been interested in that I think that new readers might be interested in. The titles to your books have Exit Unicorns, Mermaid in a Bowl of Tears, and Flights of Angels have a very maybe mystical or fantasy feel to them. I never questioned it. I read them from the beginning, so I didn't have an association with them other than at the birth kind of the first publication. But for new readers, where do those beautiful titles come from? What is the words are beautiful and they're very mystical and fantastic. Why those words? Why those titles?
Well, Exit Unicorns came from just the idea of losing your illusions as you get older, particularly in a country like Northern Ireland where you're stripped of your illusions fairly quickly. The time period I write about was very violent. It was the height of the Irish Troubles. So just that idea of losing your innocence, which we all do, I mean, from our progression from childhood to adulthood, but also unicorns, because, I mean, Ireland is the obvious link with unicorns, right? So, and then Mermaid in a Bowl of Tears is because the Irish, there was an Irish poet, John Boyle O'Reilly, who referred to the Atlantic Ocean as the bowl of tears for the Irish because so many died crossing it. And it was a sad occasion to have to cross it. You were leaving behind your family. In fact, in Ireland, they held something called American Wakes, which was your farewell party before you left for the Americas, because odds were you were never coming home. You would never see your family again. So it really was like a wake, essentially.
And you might not even make it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
The odds of actually making it across the ocean in the first place were not high. And then the mermaid, it just refers to the main female character, Pamela.
Right, who's one with the water. Okay, so thank you so much for being here, Cindy, and please make sure that you pick up her newest book, Flights of Angels, and find her other books, Exit Unicorns and Mermaid in a Bowl of Tears, and have a read. Thank you so much, and back to you.
Fantastic interview. Very interesting stuff, and wow.
Yeah, it was a real privilege to interview her, being that she's a local author and a very good author and internationally renowned, but she's also a dear friend of mine and she's my favorite author. So that was a real treat to get to interview her. And
how often does that happen?
I know. Who gets to do that?
Yeah.
Who gets to do that kind of stuff? I do. I get to do that kind of stuff.
Well,
so celebrate that. Yeah, it was really great. She's very, very interesting, intelligent, hardworking at her craft, and it shows in her writing.
It sure
She's
does.
very entertaining, yeah.
Well, it's time for the photo of the day. We've got a couple more pictures, courtesy from our friend Dave Sutton. And we got a photo, we'll show you a family day. Very wonderful event on the past weekend. I had the privilege of attending and taking part into some great Indian food and the festivities there. And also we have a photo of the day from Dave on the rising river, which I don't know if you had a look crossing the bridge today. I think it's coming down a little bit. I'm not a scientist on these matters, but I think the worst is over for now. But a couple photos there that Dave showed us.
Did you get to take in the music on the stage?
A little bit. At Family Day, yeah. A little bit.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember his name, but he was just fantastic. Country.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not a country fan, I'll be honest with you, but he was wonderful.
Oh, excellent.
And great young talent, for sure.
Well, the family band, Take It or Leave It, was up there. It happens to be my family, so I thought maybe you took them. They were the last show of the day, so, well, second to the last show of the day, but yeah, I caught the last chorus and verse. It sounds like they did a good job. They had a good time. Okay. We've got another photo of the week winner to announce, and this week's winner is Natalie Bateman. She submitted 2 great photos, one of a sunset and one of a duck family with a beautiful sunset as well.
Beautiful photography.
Yeah. Sounds like she's on her way to a nice collection.
Mm-hmm.
As our weekly winner, Natalie Bateman receives a copy of this great Golf Privilege Club 2012 edition golf savings book. Thanks to our sponsorship from the Lung Association of BC. This little book normally sells for $35. It has lots of savings at golf courses all over BC, as far east as Manitoba and even some in Washington State. Both Quesnel courses are also included in here, so it's a great little prize. And I hear that there were a lot of really great shots submitted this week.
There were lots, and I know our producer John has been kind enough. He'll show a few other shots that we got, because we had lots of submissions, and we really encourage everyone to keep sending them in. We have another great shot from Lori Perkins, who shot, and there was a little debate on what they were, but we're going to say they're 2 cute little ducks. Very close competition this week, so please keep sending in your photos for the competition for our weekly winner. And enjoy these photos. So fantastic work.
And we'll make another draw next week and every week until the end of June. So get your local photos into us at today at qcatv.ca and get yours entered to win.
Right on. Well, next up, it's time to take a look at our community calendar and see what's going on in Quesnel.
Well, that's it for this show. If you would like to give us any feedback or tips on any news you think we should cover here at Q Today, you can contact us by email at qtoday@qcatv.ca. If you would like to be a sponsor or volunteer, you can also call Nate at 992-3650 or call the station and leave a message for John McKenzie at 992-8363.
Great. And remember, we're also on Facebook now. And we have lots of friends. We want you to be friends too. So you can watch our show either on QCATV, thanks to Eddie D'Souza, or on Facebook at facebook.com/QToday. And that's, of course, Big Q, Big T, all one word.
Remember, Q Today is produced by QMag, the Quesnel Media Access Group. Thanks for watching. Remember, our purpose is to get Quesnel talking.
Bye for now.